Did you know that there is a place in the universe that has a recording of your soul journey in every one of your incarnations? And that is called the Akashic Records. And I have a guest with me today, Lisa Barnett, who is an expert in accessing those records for readings of your life and other lives on other planes. And she can also help you get access to it as well. And my name is Scott Ware. I'm the editor and publisher of Radiance Magazine and of the Radiance channel on the Xpnsion network. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, Scott. I am thrilled to be here with you today.
Yes, thank you so much. So you are an international best-selling author, From Questioning to Knowing, 73 Prayers to Transform Your Life, and of course, The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records. You're actually also the founder of Akashic Knowing School of Wisdom, where you specialize in teaching people to access their personal soul wisdom and guidance to transform their life, working directly with their Akashic record keepers. So you say there's Akashic record keepers. Are these people you can help us see or know? How does that work?
Well, if you imagine that your Akashic record is the recording of your soul's journey throughout time, that means that you have a whole library of information in your personal record. And we get record keepers. We get beings of light that have never been human. They are not angel. They are not ascended masters. They are pure divine source. They come straight from source, and they volunteer to assist us by keeping our Akashic records so that you can actually find the information you're looking for when you start to access your own record. Now, and so, yeah, these record keepers are the most profound guides you can start to access.
And this information we're getting from them, I understand, is healing on some level. How is it healing to access this information?
Well, in a couple of different ways, because the Akashic record is part of or stored in kind of the information arm of source. So it's pure divine source energy. The beings of light, the record keepers, are pure source souls. They have no judgment. They have not created any karma. And so it's the purest, highest vibration anywhere because it's source. And
sure.
So in one way, when you learn to open your own records, you're actually raising your vibration and your energy level to access that information. And that helps you to clear old beliefs and old energies and old blocks so that you can start to hold a higher vibration in your body. And the record keepers themselves, when you learn how to ask questions that are really beneficial for healing and clearing and releasing these old blocks and beliefs and judgments and pain and trauma, the record keepers themselves will help you to do that. And this is all part of what I teach in my workshops.
And that's interesting. So when people go to your website, they can find out when your current workshops are. They can get healings from you. They can get readings from you with the Akashic Records. What is that website, Lisa?
It is akashicknowing.com. So kind of simple, but
yeah, that's good. And now, how long have people been able to read the Akashic Records? And is this, I'm sure it's not in the Bible, but are there other sacred texts where this appears?
Well, the Book of Life is the Akashic Record. And so what we're told from the beings of light is that they have been here helping humanity always, right? Because they're infinite. There is no real beginning to them.
Sure.
And so they've always been here helping humanity. And so according to them, they've also helped to write other sacred texts. And I believe that there are a few places on the planet that hold an Akashic record vibration in the physical form. One of those is down somewhere in the Yucatan. It's never been discovered, but also I believe that one is in Egypt, possibly under the Sphinx or under one of the pyramids. But again, people can't access a lot of those areas. You know, they are not allowed down there. And so we haven't found whatever that might look like, but that's part of the information the record keepers have given me at different times.
So what are some of these profound revelations that people are having when either you access their Akashic records of their soul journeys or you help them to do it? What kind of things are they getting out of that?
Well, you know, we're so unique that everybody's, you know, aha moment or real profound realization can be tremendously different. So, for example, I was working with a woman who was a therapist the other day, and when I opened her records, the energy really came through as this very, very ancient type of energy. And I said to her, you know, do you realize that you've been a healer many, many, many different times? And so it would make sense that you're a therapist, because of course that's a version of a healer. But I told her a couple other lifetimes where she had also been more of a hands-on healer, where she had really walked the planet in the early 100, 200 AD, really spreading the Christ consciousness beliefs and energy and healing.
Okay.
And it helped her to get unstuck from a fear she had that this was all she was, that all she really was a therapist, even though in her heart she felt she was more, she didn't know how to access that energy or that belief. She needed this validation that said, you are so much more than that, and you have books to write, and you will help people to heal in other energetic ways as well as through your therapy. And so she was completely motivated to start considering writing a book and doing some more energy work and bringing that into her practice. And so for her, that was very, very useful. And sometimes information about your soul's purpose and your business. So if
kind of
she
like was very, very
I'm sorry,
expanding for her.
Yes. And this is one of the things that I love, is that we realize that we're just so much more than just, you know, this body and this life. And
can I ask you, what does it look like when you access the Akashic records? Are you seeing something in your mind's eye? How does that work?
yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, for me, it's like opening a door into the void. So I'm actually moving into this energy of nothingness, kind of big, expansive space, until the client asks a question or shares what they're interested in working around, because I really, and the record keepers have asked me to kind of meet people where they are, which means the work I do is very question driven. I want to help you now. For you, if it's your business or if it's your relationship, or if they're, you know, blocks to creating more abundance of love or more abundance of money, whatever it is that's showing up in your life, we can look at that through the Akashic records and speak to that and do healing from past life trauma, childhood pain and trauma, unconscious beliefs that we have from our childhood, karma that we've brought to learn about, to understand, to grow. So it's very much about answering your questions and helping you where you are right now.
I know on your website you have a home study course. Can you give a little bit of information, like how do you lead people into a meditation where then they what they go into this area and they imagine, I don't know, drawers that they open or a computer? I mean, how does that work?
So I have been given by the Akashic Record Keepers a 5-step wisdom prayer system. And what that means is they've given me 5 simple, concise steps, which are really easy.
Okay.
And they've given me what we call a vibrational key to open the door, but it's a sacred prayer. So it's literally about saying a sacred prayer to open and shift the energy to move into your own Akashic record and connect to the beings of light that keep your records. And I teach you how to have a conversation with them. So it can be very specific. You can ask specific questions and get specific answers. Now, not everything is answered. I always say, I will never tell you when you're going to die, you know. Right. But there is so much information in your Akashic records. It's phenomenal.
And for people who want to learn how to do this for themselves, and you teach them in that home study course, and they want to do it with their friends, their family, you actually even certify them to do this for others and offer that healing.
Right, absolutely. So the first home study course, which I call Course 1 and Course 2 is all about Akashic self-mastery. That means that it's important for you to master your life, to understand all this information that's available to you in your Akashic record. Kind of before you go fumbling about trying to help somebody else, it's important for us to do our own work. And so in Akashic self-mastery, you learn about your soul's plan. So before you came to Earth, your soul said, this is what I want to do. I want to be with these people. I'm going to write these soul contracts. I want to learn and grow around whatever your issue is that you're choosing to work on, which we often call karma, but it's really soul growth.
Right.
And so we make a whole plan for relationships, to work with people, to learn and grow, to bring our gifts and talents to humanity. And so all that information, that's very much what we call, what's my purpose? When people say, what's my purpose? I often tell them, well, it's complicated because we're very complicated ancient souls. We would be so bored if it was a job description, right?
You're right. You're right. And yeah, when I encounter personally my mission and others that are close to me, it doesn't come up as a job description because that's very 3D, that's very human. Whereas our purpose, I think it just flows into other areas of life and isn't easily definable with words. But you know it when you're there because it touches your heart. It makes you feel great and excited. Wouldn't you say?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I often see them kind of as an archetype, which can be the healer or the goddess or the priest or the, some of us come really to be of service. And so they can be, or the artisan, the artist, the divine mother, the divine feminine, where many of us are working on helping to rebalance masculine, feminine on the planet. So there's a big soul contract for people to help do that. And so you might have noticed how many more women are out there teaching about the divine feminine. And so
I've seen a few.
Yeah, there's, and so many different aspects. And so it's definitely not a job description. So even if I was to say, well, part of your soul's purpose is to really embody the divine feminine, the divine mother, which may mean you have no children because it's often the mother of many instead of the mother of one. Right. But, it's starting to understand that. And what that does, it validates us as humans with to create a job or a business or search for people to connect to share our gifts. And so, it's beautiful, but it is complicated as we are. And so it's kind of fun to learn and understand your soul's plan And then I'm finding so many people are waking up and wanting to create a spiritual kind of business. And this is why I teach people to do Akashic readings and healing, and to really certify them through my school to go out there and share this wisdom in a bigger way.
Very nice. And I just watched a video of you on your Facebook page, which you offer a lot of generously a lot of content. And it talked about our relationships with people that we have contracts with, that we'll have in a lifetime 30 or 40 relationships that are agreements we made beforehand to either help each other in various ways. And there's different ways we can help each other, which sometimes in life, our biggest teachers are, of course, the people who seem to oppose us the most. And that a mother, or a parent rather, can have a contract with one or two children, but not with the other, where they have it with the other parent. Can you talk about how the Akashic Records can help us with those relationships?
Absolutely. So again, what I find is that even with our parents or our children, soul contracts are not always just a given. And so again, they can be very complicated. Sometimes they have to do, sometimes a child will come into a family and they've really come to be with a grandmother or an aunt or a sibling instead of with the parents, or with one of the parents, but not as much with the other. So it is very complex. And I think when we realize that, it just validates all those feelings we've had, and it helps us to stop feeling like we're a bad person, that we have no connection to our mother, or that we're that there's something wrong with us because it doesn't feel like our father really loves us. And it has to do with what we came to learn. And so, you know, there is always learning in that, even if there is no contract. And sometimes the learning is really about almost self-sufficiency, deepening into self-love, and and stepping more into our own power. And so we sometimes choose to be less entangled with a family in general, because we really come to empower ourselves, maybe heal and complete a bunch of karma, and to go out and share the wisdom and the gifts that we've learned. And sometimes that may look like a little bit more of a singular path. Not always, you know, we all mix it up. We all do it differently. But
but ultimately, isn't it interesting? You're in a relationship, and then you start to realize your own soul path that you hadn't known of before, and it can change the relationship in a sense, because the one person, sometimes both, sometimes one after the other, is seeking more about who they are and their expansion, and all of a sudden the relationship looks differently. It can still maintain, it can go deeper, it can go better, and of course some part. But how would you speak to that? How would you encourage people in their own personal expansion, and yet looking to maintain a relationship or see what's there still, or to encourage the other person to do the same? What would you say to that?
yeah, well, I find it interesting because I have a lot of people come to me and ask, do I still have a soul contract with my spouse? So that is often kind of speaking to that dynamic. Often the person who comes to me for the reading is saying, I'm on this big spiritual path. I just started waking up last year, and my spouse is not. And is the contract still viable? Do I have to stay with them? Almost kind of thing. So it can be very interesting. And of course, the answer is always, you know, unique to that person.
Right.
So sometimes we marry someone and we don't even have a soul contract with them. That was free will. And so there's no contract to void. And so if you grow apart, often it's because, well, there really wasn't that same kind of contract to keep you together in the first place.
Right.
Sometimes it's about learning and growth. It's about completing karma. It's about, you know, finishing and finishing something. And so it's not that unusual to have a relationship that really has an end. And I see it with often with parents where the contract will end once the children are 16, 17, 18.
Right.
Because the contract was more about the family group and that field than just the two people who are married. And so, we have to, and sometimes they'll say, you actually have a support contract with this person. That means that you're here to support each other through everything. And so see what you can do to get your partner on the same page with you and see if they'll come along and maybe start to meditate or go to yoga or start to play with a little bit of the new spirituality that's coming to the world. And but the interesting thing about soul contracts is that we write a contract, we write a whole soul plan, and then we come to earth and we fall asleep. We have no memory of it at all.
Right.
And so there we fumble along. And so it's not uncommon for one person to kind of be working the contract, being the support, being the light, being the love, kind of doing what they came, and the other person not as much. They're not as conscious of any of it. And so the interesting thing one of the record keepers say is that it takes two people to keep that contract going. So if you do everything you can and they do nothing, well, the contract is actually null and void. You've learned your whatever you wanted to learn, you've completed your karma, you've had your soul growth, and that person will probably have to find someone else to finish that contract with, but you're kind of complete.
So everyone's unique. Like you say, everyone has their own situation, and they can check with you. They can check for themselves when they learn how to access the Akashic Records. And you have a simple 5-step process that you offer in the home study program, which they can find at akashicknowing.com. And I understand you have a free gift on that page as well, so that I'll look forward to seeing what that is myself. Thank you for being here, Lisa. This was very illuminating, and it's exciting.
Thank you so much for having me on, Scott. I look forward to seeing you.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you everybody for watching, and don't forget to check out radiancemagazine.org. Have a great day.